Welcome to Dr. TSPR show. This is Dr. Tangella Shiva Prasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello, a warm welcome to, will not say it is post-mortem, but what has happened in 5 states which have gone for polls and the results are out. BJP, the NDA retaining all the 4 states where they were in power. But for Punjab, Congress got displaced. Aam Aadmi Party is the one which is trying to lead. So these are all, yes, BJP, the number of seats from 322, they have come down. But incidentally, the vote percentage from 40% to it has gone to 42%. Likewise, when you see Uttarakhand, no one gave BJP a chance because the incumbent chief minister lost the election. And the supposed to be the chief minister from Congress, he too lost. Twists and turns, and Manipur for the first time BJP gets on its own. Surprisingly, for Congress, which never anticipated or expected. In Goa, last time it was Congress, the single largest party, but instead BJP formed the government, and today it is almost on the verge of forming the government, having the leads are almost around 20 out of 40, maybe one short of, maybe when they could muster that strength. Last time I think one seat should not matter much because of the makeup which the so-called industrialists India now, rather than to say the constitutional, the people participatory constitutional democracy has given way to a new slogan, the making of India by the so-called industrialists. So they have a brand, they created a brand called Namo. Why? Because Congress never does introspection. I'm very sorry to say, in spite of their ineligible thinking, they could get good percentage of votes. Good percentage of votes. Though they gave the party no chance, but still it is there in the democratic setup. Because why I try to tell you all this brand value, मैं क्यों कह रहा हूँ कि अगर आप कांग्रेस का हिस्ट्री देखेंगे, यूपीए, it could not even get 10% mandatory to become opposition party. But believe me, it was Congress. Everyone was castigating Manmohan Singh. आज बात करना पड़ रहा मुझे. The silent man who has never allowed the constitutional organizations, whether it is CBI, CAG, or for that matter courts, he never allowed any interference. Even the Congress High Command, when they wanted, he did not allow. That is the reason why the 2G scam, so many other scams, coal scam, Commonwealth Games scam, Congress ministers, MLAs, member of parliament, they were all jailed. That is his silence. Today I have to break that. Congress has that history. UPA had that history. Sending to gallows their own party constituents, right from DMK, Kanimoli to Raja. Yedurappa was also there. All these, irrespective of party affiliations, were sent to jail. When people ask me what happened to Vadra, see, we are not here to have anything against anyone. If he has done something wrong, definitely he will bite the dust. BJP was in power for 5 years. They were the ones who were investigating. Why cases could not be brought to trial? Like again the Bofors like thing, why they were trying to hang. This was not there when Manmohan Singh was there. Because he was destroying the politicians who have been backed by the so-called industrialists. Then there came the brand, and that brand value continues. And we congratulate, in a democracy, we need to congratulate all the winners. And definitely, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, and then Uttarakhand, Manipur, all those who have been elected, congratulations, including Goa and Punjab too. Dr. TSPR channel wishes them the best so that they can serve the people. We only hope all those lost, they should not get disappointed because this is democracy. ये लोकतंत्र है, लोकतंत्र में एक हारता एक जीतता है. तो हम सभी को, जीतने वालों को और जो भी हारे, सभी को बधाई देता हूँ, क्योंकि लोकतंत्र को बचाने की एक ही रास्ता है, चुनाव. और वो चुनाव की प्रक्रिया सही ढंग से हुआ या नहीं. फ्री एंड फेयर इलेक्शन. क्यों बोलते हैं कि हम फ्री एंड फेयर? इसीलिए कि कोई एक पार्टी जो पावर में है उसको एडवांटेज ना मिले, ताकि बाकी स्वतंत्र से अभ्यर्थी से लेके चुनाव में जो भी लड़ना चाहता है चुनाव, अन्य दल को भी उसी तरह की उनको एक लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड हम कहते हैं, ताकि आप आज तक पावर में थे, आपको एडवांटेज ना हो. इसी तरह हमारे संविधान ने, बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ने, ये कहा कि फ्री एंड फेयर इलेक्शन, ताकि वोटर महाशय भी निश्चिंत होकर, कोई लालच में ना आते हुए अपना वोट जताए, ताकि जो भी वो चाहते हैं उनको जिताए, ताकि वो उनको एक अच्छी सरकार उनको दे. So this is what happens in a people participatory constitutional democracy. Political parties represent us in a democracy, so that there should be a free and fair election. No party in power or otherwise should be in advantageous position, including the independents. That is the beauty of free and fair election. Did this happen? We are not saying no ill feelings against all those who have won. We want you to celebrate, because we celebrate democracy in true spirit. All those winners, we are there with you. I am quoting something from Election Commission of India. They said 85 lakh liters of alcohol was caught. I am not saying. That's why I put that. If that has been caught, is it not enticement? Is it not the failure of the Election Commission of India's machinery? If alcohol is on such a high level, then what about the enticements? Whichever party does it, that is immaterial. Whether you are influencing in a wrongful way, disadvantaging other party, this should not be a free and fair election. But all said and done, I am trying to reiterate what Election Commission of India has very publicly, before the countings in the morning, they have come out stating that this was, and how much money has been caught. And unfortunately, all political parties have become one when it comes to party funding. NRI funding from 74 till this time, we can't. We will have no account of this. No RTA petition can. Similarly, electoral bonds. I don't blame BJP, Congress, everyone together. They could pass this bill in the Rajya Sabha. All are guilty, all political parties. That is why we are not in a position to understand which party, what it does. But on the eve of elections, Lallu Prasad Yadav was again convicted. This fear, because why I tell you is, UP, Mayawati, what happened to that Bahujan Samaj party, the Brahmin as well as the SC, ST is such a big combine. What happened to our party? Why it got decimated? That is $1 million question. Ambedkar's, not just Ambedkar, that I was trying to correct even Sisoda ji. The Constituent Assembly, there were many stalwarts and Ambedkar was leading when it came to the Constitution. Such big stalwarts, including Ambedkar ji, they wanted equality, equijustice, whether it is socio or economic aspect or political aspect. For that reason, he had created that reservations. The downtrodden, the last of the least, should enjoy all, whether it is welfare or development. That is the beauty of a democracy, and for which every 5 years we elect, so that the parties representing us do some welfare and development. Same happens with the Lok Sabha too. Now let us discuss what happened to this. कादरी साहब, आपका मुंह क्यों छुपाया है? आप आपका वीडियो ऑन करिए. From all India, again I don't want to, AIMIM Inkilab party, Syed Tariq Khadri is also an advocate. The honorable guest we have, Raj Boda from USA as usual, and a difficult topic to discuss. And Mr. Sandeep Pandey, makes us a awardee as well as Vice President of Socialist Party of India, joining us from Uttar Pradesh. Many more to join, but some were disappointed, some were going to complain. They are running from pillar to the post in regards to the free and fair elections there. So I am sure they will connect at some point of time. संदीप पांडे जी, क्या हुआ उत्तर प्रदेश में, क्या हुआ? इतनी प्रतीक्षा थी, लेकिन योगी आदित्यनाथ जी हैज बिकम ए सुपरस्टार. वो जो कहते थे वो करके दिखाए. आप कैसे देखते हैं ये सब? पहले हम सभी को बधाई देते हैं, जो जीते जो भी हारे, क्योंकि ये लोकतंत्र व्यवस्था है.
देखिए शिव प्रसाद जी, you want me to speak in English or Hindi?
Whichever way you are comfortable, you can have both together also, no problem, as you wish.
No, it depends on who your listeners, viewers are.
Both are there. See, Hindi and English.
Okay.
You can start with Hindi and then.
हाँ, शिव प्रसाद जी, कल रात को आप ही जैसा आप यहाँ पे कर रहे हैं एक शो, तो 9:30 से 10:30 बजे एक शो था कल. 10:30 बजे रात को हम लोग सभी लोग ये मान के शो समाप्त किए कि ये जो एग्जिट पोल आ रहा है ये एग्जैजरेटेड है और समाजवादी पार्टी को कम से कम 225 सीटें मिलेंगी और उनकी सरकार उत्तर प्रदेश में बनेगी, अखिलेश यादव मुख्यमंत्री बनेगी. एंड दिस इज नॉट जस्ट yesterday. For the last 2 months we have been saying that the common people of UP are fed up with this government. There is a resentment, there is an undercurrent against the government, and people, by taking the name of Akhilesh Yadav, were saying they want him back as chief minister. So the results which have come out are very surprising, but not so surprising if you look at the events of last 2 days. We have filed a complaint with the election commission. A truck full load of EVMs, and it was big enough to hold EVMs of an entire constituency. You know, a normal constituency has about 300 booths. So which means if you have one machine per booth, then 300 machines is about what constitutes a constituency. And this truck was containing hundreds of EVMs. It was caught by people in Varanasi on 8th evening. And similarly, vehicles carrying boxes with blank ballot papers were caught in at least 3 districts: Sonbhadra, Bareilly, and one more place. I don't remember right now, but yeah, at 3 places vehicles were caught and complaints were made. And finally, the district magistrate of Varanasi, who was earlier saying that these vehicles were carrying EVMs for giving training to the officials who were going to be involved in counting of votes, ultimately the election commission had to order suspension of 3 SDMs in Banaras, Bareilly and Sonbhadra, which itself shows that there was some bungling, and they had to appoint the Delhi chief electoral officer to supervise the counting in Meerut, and the Bihar chief electoral officer to supervise the counting in Varanasi. So which means there were already some bunglings which had been acknowledged by the election commission, and it took some last minute steps to correct it. Now if they were caught at 3 or 4 places, then nothing prevents us from assuming that this could have been going on at other places also, and people were not vigilant enough to catch the government officials who were either given or they had taken upon themselves the task to manipulate the results of the elections. So I am still saying that the results have been manipulated because people wanted Akhilesh Yadav to be back as chief minister. I have I have campaigned in at least 3 constituencies of my own where my own party had put up candidates, Socialist Party India, and I went to support 3 other candidates. So I have been to about 6 districts in Uttar Pradesh during the campaigning, and that is what my feedback was. So I believe that the results have been manipulated, and what the BJP is claiming to be a victory is not a real victory. It is a concocted victory.
But here,
Thank you.
because when we heard from a section of media that entire employees were disenchanted with BJP, then how is that the same
Yeah.
employees have been helping BJP when it comes to the? That is surprising to me.
No, see, so there are 2 parts to the employee. There are the senior officers, and then there are the junior level, employees. So the senior officers, the people who are sitting in positions of DM and SDM, they, I think, most of them, because they were appointed by the outgoing BJP government. I can assume that most of them were already pro BJP. The low level employee was, of course, not in favor of BJP because Akhilesh Yadav had announced the revival of old pension scheme. So the senior officers or the officers at the higher positions would have taken care to ensure that they appoint the employees who would follow the instructions. And I'm not saying, Shiv Prasad ji, that BJP would have done it in all the constituencies.
Yep.
They, some of the seats they were sure of winning. They would not have done done this manipulation in those seats. But in seats where their margin of loss was going to be small, it is in those seats that manipulations would have been done. And among employees, there is a cross section of people from all parties, and it would not have been difficult for them to find people who would follow their instructions. In fact, my belief is that in the 4 or 5 places where trucks and vehicles have been caught, they have been caught because one among the employees who were assigned the task to move the EVMs or boxes containing blank ballot papers must have been supporter of Samajwadi Party. That is why they revealed the information, and therefore the vehicles were caught. But at other places, probably they were all pro BJP who were managing it, and therefore it was not cast.
But here also, Sandeep ji, don't you think my dilemma? Arvind Kejriwal, he says he is going to win the Punjab election, and he says Chennai, the incumbent chief minister, will lose from both. And he said their Dhuri from Dhuri, AAP designate CM candidate will win by more than 50,000 votes.
Yeah.
Here, there his prophecy came true. But here, how is that your prophecy gone wrong in UP? BJP could have done the same in Punjab also because they were very angry with Punjab farmers leading the agitation.
No. BJP could not have done this in Punjab because, first of all, it was not a BJP government there. It was a Congress government. And
Okay.
moreover, because of the farmers' movement, people in Punjab are angry with BJP. So they would not have, been part of any conspiracy in Punjab to manipulate the election results. BJP doesn't have any support base in Punjab. Whereas in UP, it has a base. In Uttarakhand, it has a base, which is what it has used, to achieve a desired result.
But surprisingly, Navjot Singh Sidhu loses, but BJP
Yeah,
Punjab chief he wins. They get 2 seats there in Punjab.
yeah.
Captain
Yeah,
Amrinder Singh loses. Captain Amrinder Singh loses. Navjot Singh loses. Badal family loses. BJP president and the other candidate they win. Now, how do you look at this?
yeah,
That beats my intelligence.
yeah,
And Manipur also. Likewise, Goa.
yeah,
Goa.
yeah.
Do you think Congress has not done its homework properly? Because Congress was in power in Punjab and was in close race in Uttarakhand as well as in Goa. You think?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that Congress has totally failed to keep their organization together. You know, the way senior Congress leaders have either left the party in recent past or have expressed their dissent, it doesn't bode well for the Congress. Congress's problem is that if they do not have people from Gandhi family heading the party will not be together. And if people from Gandhi family head Congress party, then they will not allow any other leaders to emerge. Congress has very capable leaders even today, even after so many people have left. But the problem is that they do not have any independent authority, to take decisions. So ultimately, everybody looks up to Sonia Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka Gandhi, and they are not in a position to build the party into a strong unit that it can fight an election to win. They are, I think, merely completing the formalities, and with totally new people in Uttar Pradesh, and especially women who did not have any background in politics, it would have been foolish to assume that they would have achieved electoral success.
It is a Congress party because surprisingly before elections, Gulab Nabi Azad gets Padma Bhushan. I don't know. That really that is how BJP. I don't blame BJP because it's a political party. They want to win somehow. So you can't blame any political party in elections. You can't say देखो ये तुंडी कर रहा. You can't say because you need to have strategy, electoral strategy to win, or else you expose the corrupt practices. So when you are failing in both aspects, because why I discuss these things is in democracy, political parties, that too age-old political parties, if they lose the ground in such a way, it doesn't augur well for the democracy. See, Congress Mukt Bharat, that slogan, is it going to become true? Because in Punjab and Goa, and as well as in Uttarakhand, where they had a chance, don't you think they fell flat?
I'm sorry, Shiv Prasad ji. Can I just attend to a call? Somebody is trying to call.
Yeah. You mute yourself and then attend, then you come back. Then meanwhile, I'll go to Mr. Raj Boda. Raj Boda garu, what is happening with Congress?
We are means just blaming is not right thing. Okay.
No. We are discussing. It's a post. We are not blaming anyone because we want all political parties to survive in a democracy. That is the first gut. There is no question of Mukt. No question of Mukt. Every political party should be there. People should have alternative. Please.
Yes, sir. That is the reason what I am saying. What the BJP is trying to do the false propaganda, we should not believe in that. Okay. We have to look at the numbers. Okay. UP in Uttar Pradesh, especially the BJP stronghold is in Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. The Uttar means the north part of India, North India, some regions. But if you take west or east or south, it's completely different story. If you go to Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, you hardly see BJP. So you have to look into. So just now, even Congress representative talked about especially UP. The only surprise to me is Punjab. The rest of the things it does not make me surprised, especially UP. Congress trying to regain its position, and Congress showed that it existed, and the message, the women related, it went into people. It might not convert into votes. That does not mean, but whatever they want to say, message, it went. It might, because if you look at the history, BJP, it took 60 years. It was in opposition.
Yes.
One time they contested for 220 MPs. They got only 2 MPs. and it was a big struggle. And Congress, what is the reason? It like people have seen Congress for so many years. They want to try something new, like Aam Aadmi Party, who has good marketing oratory skills, like Modi, and they are people are connecting to emotional issues than the development other things. Because where the developed people are, who are more educated people, the results are coming more against the BJP. Where uneducated people, they are connected with emotional issues like religion and other things. And BJP people are good at that marketing. So we have to look at the demography of the people, how educated, how like how much information they have on like on the ground subjects, and look at. I'm giving few examples.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you look
please.
at the percentage of votes,
Yeah,
this is from Election Commission of India,
yeah, you read that.
and this is
Yeah,
yeah, this is Goa. Like if you see it, 33% of vote came to BJP. I'm not looking at the numbers. Move on. Okay, let's look at the how many people voted out of 100 people. 33 people voted for BJP. 23.5 23.5 people voted for Congress, and this others and this 7.6 like MAG. I don't know what is the MAG party, and then others. And Aam Aadmi Party in Goa, they got 6.7%. If you add all these, like all the opposition who are opposing BJP, like around 70%. They got only if any party crosses 50%, I appreciate them. That means they really won the faith of the people. That means 67% of the people opposing BJP in Goa. But because the way how the opposition got distributed it to so many other parties,
yeah.
and they are able to win. That does not mean they really won the faith of the people.
But majority
So
of the
what
seats,
these
majority of the seats we say in a democracy, majority out of 40 they got 20. So 21 is the benchmark. Majority they are getting even with low percentage votes. In Uttar
it's
Pradesh,
not
in Uttar Pradesh they
it is
got
not a
they got higher percentage of votes this time BJP, but less number of seats. Yeah,
no, it's not about. Let's not look into seats.
yeah,
Seats, you can if even you get one vote extra, you will get seats. You have to look at the voting percentage. How many people are really favoring the BJP out in the Goa? Majority people are not favoring BJP. 67% of the people are opposing BJP. But the opposition vote got distributed among so many parties. So if these opposition parties get united, or if they can divide the BJP votes, then the other parties will win. Okay. So you have to do proper election engineering. That is what happening. If more than 50% of the people, if any party gets more than 50%, then I will appreciate. Even if you add other parties total, then they don't get 50%. It means 67% of the Goa people are opposing BJP. We have to look at. If you just look at the number of seats, that does not count any means.
right.
That is not the real mandate of the people.
Okay. But in Uttar Pradesh they got 42% this time. Uttar Pradesh they got 42%, 2% up than last time, but less number of seats. 50
Uttar
less seats.
Pradesh, let's look at the Uttar Pradesh. 41% BJP and 32% Samajwad Party, and BSP 12.8%, 13%. If you add BSP and Samajwad Party, it is coming to 40, 45 or some 46, more than 42%. So this means the opposition got divided it between BSP and Samajwad Party. If they got united, it means 64%, 60 around 58% of the people are opposing BJP. But that opposition vote got distributed. If somebody is able to, like Shiva Sena, if Shiva Sena would have contested in Uttar Pradesh, the BJP would have got 30%. Then Samajwadi Party would have won. So you have to do proper election engineering. This is all dirty politics. BJP is playing dirty politics. They are not like doing any. They did not perform well. They did not do any something good for the people. With the demonetization, they killed the business and everybody. Like even with the farmer loss, so 700 people died. And still, how can they could win? And around 60% of the people are opposing BJP in Uttar Pradesh. Even after they did so much nonsense, false propaganda, and that Raja Singh like threatened people that if you don't vote, then we will kill. So many things happened, and they contributed liquor. Even after that, around 60% of UP people are opposing BJP. But that got divided in between. If BSP and BSP got united, then they would have won elections. So you have to do if you do proper election engineering, these opposition parties will win. Like similar thing in Telangana. That now before elections, the BSP and Aam Aadmi Party and BJP trying to like divide Congress Party vote bank. Then TRS will win. So we have to look into all those things.
Yeah, even Mahagathbandhan was there. BJP, I mean SP and BSP, still they could not win that time. That time, then they said there was some manipulation. We don't know, God knows, but we did make
No.
a show on EVM. There were pertinent questions which were raised, and that too, those people who were at the helm of Election Commission, those people
So
who
I will
retired,
one
but
one
nothing
point.
was answered by Election Commission of India. But fine, we are not going
I
to
will give
dampen the spirit of BJP winning 4 states and Aam Aadmi Party winning Punjab. We congratulate them, but we are discussing because this is how democracy has to evolve. We need to discuss where we went wrong, how it
Brother,
went wrong. Yeah, please go ahead.
one point. If Shiva Sena contest in all these states, BJP percentage of votes will go down. Automatically, Samajwadi Party or Congress or some other party will win. This is my Look at the numbers. Aam Aadmi Party and BSP helping BJP to win, and little bit MIM also.
या MIM फैक्टर आई विल गो टू मिस्टर खादरी. खादरी साहब, आपका भी ये MIM इनकलाब पार्टी है, आप थोड़ा ऑन कर लेके बात करिए. सैयद खादरी साहब, आप एक एडवोकेट भी है, आपका पार्टी भी है क्या, और आपके नाम से एक पार्टी जो हर जगह जाके उन्होंने कंटेस्ट करते हैं, और राजबोड़ा साहब भी अभी बोल रहे कि वो कंटेस्ट करने से बीजेपी जीत रही है.
एक सेकंड मेरी चार्जिंग खत्म हो रही, मैं चार्जिंग को लगा रहा हूँ. एक सेकंड
चार्जिंग लगाइए, आपका सूरत भी दिखाइए. संदीप पांडे साहब भी आपकी सूरत देखने के लिए उत्सुक है. He is another AIMIM Inkilab Party's founder. Syed Tarak Khadri Sahab is an advocate also, learned man. And his same party, the party All India Majlis Ittihadul Musliman party contesting, and Raj Boda says it is dividing to make BJP to win.
Yeah.
या खादरी साहब, आपका वीडियो भी ऑन करिए.
जी देखिए, माय पार्टी इज ऑल इंडिया मजलिस इंकलाब मिल्लत. इट इज अ डिफरेंट, ऑल टुगेदर डिफरेंट पार्टी. इट इज नथिंग टू डू. इट इज
मैं आपको कैमरा रिक्वेस्ट भेजा. खादरी साहब, आई हैव सेंट यू कैमरा रिक्वेस्ट. कैमरा शेयर करिए ताकि आप सब दुनिया को दिखेंगे. आप कैमरा रिक्वेस्ट मैं भेज चुका हूँ. अभी नहीं आया सर, और एक बार भेजता हूँ, फिर भेज रहा हूँ आपको. कैमरा रिक्वेस्ट आया, खाली शेयर कैमरा बोलिए. मैं भेज चुका हूँ मैं आपको. हाँ, अब दिखाई दे रहे आप. थोड़ा ऐसा कीजिए कादरी साहब, थोड़ा पलटा के रखिए, साइड को चला. हाँ, बस सुकून से दिख रहे आप. या
जी
राजबोड़ा साहब ये बोलते हैं कि आपका बड़ा भाई ऑल इंडिया मजलिस इत्तेहादुल मुस्लिमन जहाँ भी जाके वो कंटेस्ट करते चुनाव में, वहाँ जो है बीजेपी को फ़ायदा होता.
मैं सबसे पहले जो भी पार्टी जीत रही है डेमोक्रेसी, आई वांट टू कंग्रेचुलेट देम.
यू शुड सभी को बधाई देना चाहिए.
डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री.
या
और मैं राजगोड़ा साहब, आपके संदीप पांडे साहब, सब और व्यूअर्स को, रेड्डी साहब, आप सबको सलाम, नमस्ते. और जो है ये दो चीजें बहुत अहम है. पार्टीज हैव फेल्ड, सिटीजन्स हैव ट्राइड टू अपहोल्ड डेमोक्रेसी. मेरा अपना नजरिया है, हमारे ऑल इंडिया मजलिस इनकलाबी मिल्लत का जो है व्यू पॉइंट है कि पार्टीज हैव फेल्ड. अगर नहीं तो वो गोवा में तो पार्टी से, कांग्रेस पार्टी के पूरे जो है जो कंटेस्टेड एमएलएस को रिसोर्ट में को लेके जाना, व्हाट डज इट स्पीक्स अबाउट? यू डोंट हैव कॉन्फिडेंस ऑन योर ओन मेंबर्स. That is what is harming democracy and spirit of democracy. पहले क्या था कि जो जीत हार अलग बात थी, जीते बाद जो है अपने फिलोसफी को लगे हुए रहते थे, अब नहीं है। और जहां तक पांडे साहब का जो what he has told is, I want to add few other things कि ये ईवीएम्स का जहां तक मामला है, स्ट्रांग रूम में रखा जाता है, वो प्रोटोकॉल को फॉलो नहीं किया गया है। और प्रोटोकॉल को फॉलो करना खुद ही इस बात की दलील है, इट एस्टैब्लिशेस दैट इज समथिंग फिशी। Those things will be taken care of by the courts at a later stage. But what we are concerned about is the part played by other parties in providing a ground for BJP to win the elections. You may call it as electoral mathematics, but the thing is that are these parties sincere? Other parties which have tried to, these opposition parties, they have not united themselves and thus paving the way for BJP to win. And the most important thing is, हमने जो देखा है कि लाशें बहते भी देखे हैं. What are the parameters for this democracy? What are the parameters? Development, employment, livelihood, right to life. कहाँ है? कुछ भी नहीं है. और हम जो है डिवाइड करके वोटर्स को अपने ऑपरेशन वोट को, जैसा कि राजा बुड्ढा साहब बोले कि 60% पीपल हैव वोटेड अगेंस्ट, मगर यू हैव डिप्राइव्ड सिटीजन दैट राइट टू इलेक्ट गुड कैंडिडेट्स. मैं जो है साथ ही साथ जो डेमोक्रेसी में पार्टी जीतती है हारती है वो एक अलग बात है, मगर नेशनल इंटरेस्ट को भी देखना चाहिए ना साहब. और जहां तक राज बुड्ढा साहब बोले हैं कि मैं ओवैसी साहब को मुस्लिम कौम का ठेकेदार मानता हूँ, और ही इज एक्सपर्ट इन डिवाइडिंग द वोट. यू सी वेर एवर ही हैज. और आपको जस्ट एक सेकेंड में हमारी असेंबली, तेलंगाना असेंबली में जो अब जो डेवलपमेंट हुए हैं, पूरे एमएलए साहब, पूरे एमएलए वही अकबर ओवैसी साहब एंड 5 अदर एमएलए, they have started speaking against TRS chief minister. What is this? 7 साल से तुम थे हमारे, ऐसी बातें 7 साल से हमारे चंद्रशेखर और सब बीजेपी के हर बिल को सपोर्ट करें. अब ऐन वक्त पे जो है अब की कश्ती जो भंवर में है, तो अब जो है बाहर निकले के नेशनल थर्ड ऑल्टरनेटिव बोल के, तो वैसी जो है हमारे तेलंगाना में भी वैसी साहब भी जो है ये ऐसे बातें कर रहे हैं कि बहुत से इश्यूज उठा रहे हैं. और मुझे ताजुबोरा रेड्डी साहब 1 लाख का जो है तकरीबन जो है एम्प्लॉयमेंट का जो है जिक्र करे हैं सीएम साहब. नन हैज क्वेश्चन हाउ हैव यू अलाउड दिस स्टैगरिंग फिगर टू रिमेन अनअब्जॉर्ब. अरे क्या है साहब, जॉब्स थे आप आज एक बढ़ा दिए तो हो जाता, आज कितना को डिप्राइव करें आप. सब जगह तारीफ कर रहे हैं. और आई एम सॉरी टू से इवन जो सीनियर जर्नलिस्ट हैव थैंक सीएम. तो ये क्या है, जब आपको दिल में आया बस्ता खोलते और बेवकूफ बनाते आप. और हमारे को जो लीड जो करने वाले हैं, अगर ऐसा लीड करे तो कैसा होगा. जहां तक मजलिस का ताल्लुक है, मजलिस हैव ऑलवेज ऑप्टेड फॉर सिटिंग बिसाइड द ड्राइविंग अथॉरिटी. ये जो है हमेशा गाड़ी में जो बैठे हैं, आपसे पहले, इससे पहले भी जो है डिस्कशन जब हुआ था, तो मैं मेरे से जो है बीजेपी के एक आप पैनलिस्ट जिक्र किए थे कि अरे खादी साहब उन्होंने ड्राइवर सीट पे है, तो बोला कभी ओला में आप बैठे, ओला में बैठे तो आप ड्राइवर जहाँ ले आना चाहे जा सकते हैं आप, जहाँ कस्टमर बैठा है, जहाँ जो ड्राइविंग फोर्स है उन ले आओ बोला वहां जाना पड़ता. हमारे असद साहब जो है ड्राइवर है, ड्राइविंग सीट पे बोलकर हमारी पब्लिक को खुश करते. सब में ज्यादा जो है मजलिस के लीडरशिप 0.45% वोट लिए हैं, 2 लाख वोट लिए हैं. और अगर 2 लाख would have meant I have made other candidates won. He has spoiled the case. वैसे ही बीएसपी का भी वही हाल है। ये लोग जो है सब बात करते हैं उसूल और प्रिंसिपल्स की, why don't they unite to see that good candidates win? हमारी ये कमजोरी है, हमारी ये कमजोरी है। और जहां तक स्ट्रांग रूम का मामला है, प्रोटोकॉल को फॉलो किए गए, नहीं किए गए। और अगर जो है आम दिनों में भी ईवीएम्स को जहां रखते हैं अंडर केयर एंड कस्टडी ऑफ ऑफिशियल्स, और 3 लेयर सिक्योरिटी रहती है, पैरामिलिट्री फोर्स, पुलिस, स्टेट पुलिस फोर्स, लोकल पुलिस। तो ये कैसा निकला? और निकला भी तो जो पार्टीज को इन्फॉर्म किए क्या? ये कोई पूछने वाला नहीं है। बस I can understand people might have given a complaint, this is a lifeline। अगर आप लाइफलाइन को कट कर दी तो कैसा होगा?
डेफिनेटली, क्योंकि मैं भी एक कंप्लेनेंट हूँ। 2018 इलेक्शंस के 15 कंप्लेंट आईडीज़ मिले, ऐसे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल वायलेशंस हुए तेलंगाना इलेक्शंस में, असेंबली और एमपी, लेकिन आज तक उसके ऊपर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं किया इलेक्शन कमीशन ने। सिर्फ इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया मेरे को कंप्लेंट आईडीज़ देते गया आधार के साथ, विथ लीगल एविडेंसेस वी हैव पॉइंटेड आउट, बट स्टिल टिल टुडे नाउ अनदर इलेक्शन इज गोइंग टू कम, they have not initiated any action. Likewise, I have documented every election in every state with evidences. Nothing has been done. Now everything is being repeated. So that is what it will cast a shadow on election.
How can you expect? मैं तो जो है ये चाह रहा हूँ कि गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉयज है, there should be a cooling period of at least 3 to 5 years to contest रिटायरमेंट हो या रिजाइन करके अगर जो है they should not opt for जो मेंबरशिप इन असेंबली, काउंसिल, मिनिस्टरशिप और चेयरमैनशिप। तो ये क्या है? तो गोगोई साहब का जैसा मामला है, आप देख रहे हैं कि गोगोई साहब को देख के हर जो है, आई एम नॉट attributing motives to other judges, but the thing is that they feel that the trend is like that। गोगोई साहब जो है अभी दूसरे यदि जो है राज्यसभा का मेंबर बन गए, thank God he is not made chairman of law commission, otherwise there would have been several other amendments।
Right.
So ये जो है it's a sad commentary upon the working of our systems। Sure.
Right, Sandeep Pandey ji, sad commentary on working of the constitutional bodies. Till the other day he will be Chief Justice, the very next moment he will become Rajya Sabha MP of a political party. So what sort of neutrality or independence do these constitutional bodies have? And that too, Election Commissioner of India like bodies. And when you are stating that an officer from Bihar and an officer from Delhi have been appointed, that really, but don't you think even the contesting political parties could not muster the strength to become united? You can't blame BJP for that. All those things after demonetization, they've been caught because of the CBI inquiries and all, their own wrongdoings because of corrupt activities when they were in power. Now don't you think that is the main reason for BJP to catch hold of all these political parties, because of their wrongdoings when they were in power, all corrupt practices? Now they are no in position to question.
Yes, you are right, Shiv Prasad ji. One reason why Mayawati has not done well in this election is because there is a case against her going on of assets disproportionate to income, and therefore she has apparently got her votes transferred to BJP, and that is why she has got just one seat. Imagine, she has been the chief minister in this state more than once, and her party is able to get just one seat out of 403. So she has actually helped BJP win more number of seats, and it is essentially because of the corruption that she has been involved in. And the same is true with other parties also. I think Akhilesh Yadav is also not able to come out openly like Mamata Banerjee, because there are cases against members of his family. In fact, if you look at it, Akhilesh Yadav did nothing for 4 to 4.5 years while Yogi Adityanath was in power. When the Congress president Ajay Kumar Lallu, who unfortunately lost the election, was protesting almost every day because of corona mismanagement, Akhilesh Yadav was nowhere to be seen on the streets. I mean, he essentially was sitting quiet, thinking that he will get the advantage of anti-incumbency. And he did get the advantage, being the biggest and the strongest party in a position to defeat BJP. And his seats, he may not have won, but he has got more than twice the number of seats that he had in the last assembly. So his party has done better compared to last elections, and he has got the benefit of all the mistakes which the BJP government committed. But then he could not take the risk of taking on BJP openly. Otherwise, some enforcement directorate or some agency of the government would have been let loose on him. So corruption is a big issue in Uttar Pradesh, and even though BJP claims that it has ended corruption, but we know that corruption is there. It has increased, during the BJP regime, but somehow they have created this perception and that they have better law and order, there is less corruption and all that. But they are good at the art of, managing the media. They have all the money. So they have been able to influence the public opinion.
One question to you.
With the due apologies to Mr. Sandeep Pandey, why my request to you is you are restricting the this calls, rather allegations of corruption to UP leadership only. Please come down to South. Our Majlis leaders have also amassed about 15,000 crores. Their palaces, their grandfather, their father used to live in a rented house. That is the reason why they are keeping quiet. There they wanted to save their face in the cases going on in the court. Now these people want to save themselves from the cases being initiated. So all is hammam mein sab nange. All are naked in this bathroom. So sorry to use this phrase. इस हमाम में सब नंगे तो हर जगह जो है कपड़े खा के लिए भाग रहा है तो अब आशा साहब जो है क्या कोई मुस्लिम के या नेशन के वेलफेयर के लिए आगे आए यूपी में he wanted to just like Mayawati ji he wanted to help BJP to win. That is the reason why he has come. He has spoken all, and people, I'm sorry to say that religious leadership who are involved in money laundering cases, they are also appealing from Hyderabad. You have not gone to UP, you have not seen what the situation is, but still these people here from this, what should I say, this religious leadership coterie, they are not only praying, they are appealing. So that is the level which we have brought down. This, if we don't arrest this trend, it will cause loss to democratic functioning of our states.
Yeah, so और एक भी संदीप पांडे जी, you might have seen last parliament, Mulayam Singh ji all of a sudden was praising Modi ji after Lalu Prasad was jailed. He was praising Modi ji, and then that science scam, but both जो भी है Akhilesh family के against, we don't know till proved no one is guilty. But as you rightly said, they do not openly challenge BJP. After demonetization, November 8, 2016, every political party, their advisors, their funders were caught. That is the biggest advantage BJP had. So I don't blame BJP or Modi because of the corrupt practices, these political parties, whether it is Samajwadi Party or Mayawati BSP or other parties who have been funding Congress or otherwise, when they were caught, they were in no position to challenge. But is this not detrimental to democracy? That's what I'm trying to ask you. Is it not? But at the same time, when Modi says there is no corruption, but they have removed all constitutional bodies, CBI, CAG, they don't function. You have seen the case of Rafael and so many other issues. What happened to 2G spectrum scam? After the Kanimuli and all, they came out on bail. Why the case is not being progressing? And Robert Vadra's case, BJP is in power. Why it is not going ahead? Why it is not going ahead? You meant to say there is no corruption? We have been daily bringing out against Corona. Entagi, the team itself with evidences we brought. But Modi, Prime Minister's office, they don't act. But these are all corrupt practices. Because they are saddled, they are in a safe position because all the political parties have been caught in corruption. Don't you think this is going to be very, very detrimental to democracy? Don't you think? Sandeep Pandey ji.
You are right. Actually, all the leaders of various political parties, I think, are hands in glove, and they protect each other. There was a case against Yogi Adityanath when Mayawati and Akhilesh Yadav were chief ministers. If they had wanted to take action against Yogi Adityanath, they could have taken at that point, but they did not. And similarly, if the BJP had wanted, they could have taken action against Mayawati and Akhilesh Yadav's family, and they did not, or for that matter, Robert Vadra. So it looks like that we have a political system which is funded by corruption money, and it is very easy to understand this. See, Election Commission puts a limit on how much you can spend to win the election. That limit was 40 lakhs for assembly election before the elections to these 5 states took place. That limit has now been raised. I don't remember what exactly it is now, because we never imagined that we will be able to raise that kind of money. But it is a fact, and the newspapers publish that for every assembly seat, the big parties have to spend crores of rupees. So the question is, when you have to report your expenses only to a certain limit, what happens to the extra money that you spend? And that essentially is black money, which is spent, which is not shown on records. So all the parties need this corruption money. And you see, none of the parties protest the new system that BJP government has put in place, where you can buy electoral bonds and give a donation to any political party. See, I am filing the returns of my socialist party, just now with the Election Commission. I have to report every donation of more than 20,000 rupees with the name of the donor, his or her address, their PAN card number. These 3 details I have to give, the amount and how the money was transferred into my party's account. So I have to give this detail for every donor who gives my party more than 20,000 rupees. But if you choose to buy electoral bond from State Bank of India and donate it to a political party, then you don't need to inform Election Commission. Just imagine, if I buy electoral bond and donate it to a political party, then that party does not have to report to the Election Commission. Only the State Bank of India knows that who has bought the electoral bond and in which party's account it went. And I cannot even ask under RTI. So BJP has this method of working where it legitimizes corruption. Like in the farmers movement, in one of the laws, they had removed the ceiling of storage of essential items. So what that meant was, they had officially done away with a thing called black marketing, because then you could store as much food grains as you wanted. So this is BJP's way of working, legitimizing corruption, and therefore maybe they are right in saying that they have ended corruption because they have legitimized it. So with so much money coming into politics, and the whole system being opaque, we don't know what kind of forces are behind these political parties. So corruption has increased after BJP came to power, and I think there is a silent understanding among the leaders of all. Yeah, you are showing ahead of assembly polls in 5 states, electoral bonds worth 1,213 crores sold. Yes.
And exorbitantly they have raised the ceiling amount. That is not free and fair election. That is why I am saying, if I want to contest, if you want to contest, see this is not that up to only pertaining to some aspects. 1,213 crores worth electoral bonds were sold ahead of 5 states elections.
Yeah.
Just imagine. And then not only this, along with that, they have raised the ceiling of spending. That means you have taken the election away from the common man, against the spirit of basic structure of the Constitution of India. That is why I said corporate culture, corporate funding. Industrialists are trying to control India in the name of democracy, because they are getting branded items, Namo brand, Rahul brand, whatever it is. They are creating these brands at the cost of the functioning of democracy. That is why, how do you look at this scenario now? Do you think common man can contest in this type of electioneering wherein huge crores of money has to be spent?
No, not at all. See, I will share with you, Shiv Prasad ji, my Socialist Party India had put up 3 candidates. One candidate we were supporting. And with all my contacts, I have studied engineering at BHU, so I have a lot of friends who are engineers. Then I did my master's and PhD from United States. So I have friends in the United States also who can contribute to me if they are Indian citizens. So using all my contacts, I could raise, only so much money that I could give roughly about 80,000-90,000, not more than 1 lakh rupees to each of my candidates. So total amount that we spent was less than 4 lakh rupees for 4 candidates. I cannot even imagine reaching the limit that Election Commission has set. And there is no question of any industrialist giving electoral bond donation to my party. So you are right. The system is such that common people cannot contest, and they cannot match the expenses by the big parties. And the other factor which we should also talk about is because my party is not recognized. It is registered but not recognized, in the sense we have not got 6% votes to get a permanent symbol. So my candidate gets a symbol only 15 days before polling. And BJP or the big parties who have permanent symbols, they are campaigning for the last 5 years. So everybody knows their symbol. And the voters, they have hardly any time to get familiar with my symbol. So even there the big parties have the advantage. So electoral reforms are very necessary if a common person or smaller parties are also, to contest on a level playing field.
So then it is not a free and fair election. You have given a good example. That is why and not only that, 85 lakh liters, we don't know how much has gone, has been caught, and how much it would have gone in circulation. That meant enticements to the highest level by all these political parties. Now their electoral bonds, you cannot identify how much money has gone into these parties. And small parties like Socialist Party of India cannot even dream of spending and cannot even dream of matching and cannot get this symbol, it is only 15 days before, then how can this become a level playing field? How can you call this a free and fair election? And not only them, even independents, how can you reach people with such type of amount? How is that the Modi government unilaterally, when the election commission of India was increasing the limit, why it did not protest on the floor of parliament? All the political parties, I'm blaming all the political parties registered and recognized, why they did not oppose this? Not only the raising ceiling of the spending, but the donations in the form of NRI or electoral bonds, they have become opaque. No one can question. You will not get any information. That means any wrongdoing industrialist or any wrongdoing infrastructure company can fund you and they can escape now. Now there is no question of corruption or cases against them. Is it not detrimental to democracy, Mr. Rajboda?
Yes, brother. Totally agree. So we need to change the mindset of common man. Because all this funding is given, spending on the common man. They are getting influence, they are taking money from these political parties. If we can change their mindset, even if they offer, they do not take it, then the right people will get elected. Otherwise, if the corruption is starting from the common man to top level, it's very, very unfortunate. And second thing, people need to elect the directors of these independent agencies, like democratic agencies, which can keep the democracy survive, like election commission, directors of election commission, or chief, whatever the title, and the CBI directors, or the high court, Supreme Court judges, or the bench, or high court judges. We need to elect. The common man needs to vote and elect. If we could able to elect the MLAs or MPs or the Jilla Parishad or MPTC or Sarpanch, we should be able to elect these directors. Otherwise, those organizations no longer working independent. And regarding corruption, we need to legalize or legitimize up to 10 or 20%. 70 to 80% of the public tax-paid money should be utilized properly. That was happening under Congress administration or any other government, including Vajpayee administration. But current administration, if they are like, if the current BJP, like we are talking about BSP, Samajwad Party, they are corrupted. If BJP is not corrupted, the corrupted parties build so many things. Like 8 IITs, Manmohan Singh ji built. Like that, so many things happened. ISRO, Baba Atomic Research Center, Bakra Mengal project. Like that, nothing, no big infrastructure is currently built in India. If they are not corrupt, so many things should happen. Except Patel statue, nothing, no real development is happening. Then where this money is going? How the BJP is getting funds? Why these rich people only giving funds to these people? Why India is not becoming like America? Why Modi, out of that 40 lakhs crores, the budget, 22 lakhs crores the tax paid money, and 14 lakhs crores they are taking loans every year. And India debt became like 13 prime ministers. That in 64 years they did that. They made the debt around 50 lakhs crores. But under Modi administration, in 8 years, he made 80 lakhs crores debt. And where this money is going, where it is spent, all it is going to do the false propaganda on opposition parties. And why the demonetization? What was the real use of demonetization? Is the corruption gone? You bring the 500 rupees and you bring 2,000 rupees more, and you say corruption is gone. How that is possible?
No, even 2,000 rupees there is a big scam. Mr. Rajboda, 2,000 rupees there is a big scam. We have already exposed, but no action is being taken. And not only that, even the digital currency, RBI speaking something, finance minister speaks something, making hell lot of, against the spirit of parliament, but still no action by the government. Yes.
And why the CBI does not take, or NIA does not take any action, or the reports on the Bipin Rawat incident or Pulwama attack? It has been more than 3 years, and we want to know what was in the black box. No investigation is happening. But under Congress administration or UP administration, every report came into public and the judgment was given or actions taken on Kasab or Afzal Guru or any incident. But Pulwama attack, our own soldiers, that 42 people died. How around 250 kgs of RDX came into middle of the country? just before the elections. So these all needs to happen. So the CBI is not. They have to take up big issues, not this small. The corruption thing only they conduct only on opposition party leaders. Is it selectively work for the? Is it created only for the opposition leaders?
Lallu Prasad in north, Shashikala in south. In between, who is next for BJP so that they can control entire political spectrum. That is why they are.
One good example.
Yeah.
I give one good example. The Sharada scam thing in West Bengal.
Yeah.
They given notices to all the leaders or the MPs who were in TMs when they were in Trinamool Congress. So half of them joined in BJP. And second time they gave notices, but only the people who were in TMC, they got notices, but not the MPs who joined, MLAs who joined the TMC. Yeah. Like, for example, Andhra Pradesh. The Jagan Mohan Reddy he has spent 16 months in jail, and around 20 cases and around more than 20 charge sheets were filed on him. And till now, no CBI, he does not attend the CBI in court, and no actions taken on him. And as I know, he funds to Amit Shah more than whenever election funding needed, he funds, and that way the court date does not come, like no trial happens on.
No, but
So
see, all those things have to
BJP
go for trial. See, all those things have to go for trial. ED has really, what should I say, acquitted him in some cases are going on. But here also, that's what I'm trying to say. In 2G cases, Kanimoli and all, they were out on bail. If you weaken the case, government will not file anything, or else they will file in such a way that the judge totally dismisses the case. That means the corruption cases which were registered in one regime, they are no more under trial now. Now, new phenomena, you have seen how banks have been merged. All the so-called the funders of the political parties, now they are escaping. When you merge banks, the loss, the audit, everything goes haywire. You will never come to know which bank was in loss, who borrowed loans, and whether they paid or not. The same scam which Kadri was referring to, Hyderabad political party, postal orders and all that scam. That is what I am trying to say. That is why he just shown Modi regime. He put Lalu Prasad Yadav in jail in north, in Shashikala, even including Jayalalitha here in south. Now everyone is scared, including, you have seen Kerala, CPM party, gold scam and drug scam. So all these political parties, now they have to cater to the needs of one party. Either they should make this party to win, or else they should win and see that the other parties do not flourish, and this money, all this money by the industrialists, because it is very opaque funding, now they will be taken care of. That is it not detrimental to the economy as well as the basic structure of constitution and then the democracy? Yeah, one word from you, every gentleman, so that we will wind up.
Look at the ground reality, brother. India was one of the fastest developing country. India GDP was going like 10% under Manmohan Singh ji administration. He is the like, we are fortunate to have such kind of intelligent person like as a prime minister. And India was one of the influential countries in the world, top 10. Now India is like from the bottom like 160 position, hunger index top. This is what reality is talking. The ground reports are talking. So you cannot fool the people continuously. So it is not greatness of BJP to like fooling the people. It's the unfortunate thing of the people who are getting.
But the media says otherwise. Otherwise, Namo is one of the tallest leaders in the world now. That is how.
All the media is sold out.
Okay.
They are not. No media asks about the report on Pulwama attack.
Not only that, see, media, I will tell you one thing.
No.
Because of Corona, digital currency, cryptocurrency, all political parties have become one. That much I should say. Whether it is Congress or BJP, you cannot distinguish there.
If we could, one thing, if we could not protect our own soldiers, who is going to protect us?
Right.
So the report should come.
Yes,
Under Congress
it should come out.
administration or UP administration, for every report came out and the justice given, that means CBI and courts are not working independently. That clearly tells.
See,
Otherwise, how can the 250 kgs of RDX can come into the country?
Yes, they should table all the reports of attacks or corruption. It should be there in the public domain. But they have already tried to dilute the spirit of Right to Information Act, then what can you
Then
expect?
why
It
the
is a
media is
big
not
tool for a
asking
common
whether you
man.
can talk
If
about
that is being
the media?
diluted, and constitutional bodies, CAG, because Prime Minister, opposition leader, and Chief Justice, they are the ones who should appoint, or if there is anything, they are the only ones. But here is the spirit being followed now? Nothing is happening. That's what I said. It is detrimental to democracy because of the corrupt practices adopted by all these political parties in power has become anti for BJP and Modi. We will not blame them, but we have to blame people now. Democracy, how will it survive? So, Kadri Saab, your party, as a socialist party, Mr. Pandey Saab said he cannot contest in such a high spending election, and corporates controlled democracy. Political parties, non-recognized political parties or independents will not get symbol much before like recognized political parties. Don't you think this is going to endanger the spirit of free and fair election? ये ऑन कर लीजिए, आपका ऑन कर लीजिए.
I totally agree with this proposition, and I want to add three suggestions to it. This corruption and corruption and anti-defection cases should be decided within a fixed time limit of 3 years. There should be an amendment to the act to see that our democracy survives and thrives. Implementation of Aadhaar card linking with voters card. Or having linked with the bank card and PAN card, mobile phone. What is the hitch in linking it with the election card, voters identity card? The government is purposely delaying. Having passed a resolution about 3 years back, you have not moved an inch rather. Thirdly, we should also ask for amendments to the act so that government employees, those who are serving in this government, should not opt for, no sooner they retire or resign, they should not be given plum posting or membership of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. That will control our functioning of democracy. These are the 3 points which I wanted to submit through you for the government to take care of.
Not only that, all of a sudden they have increased the spending before 5 elections, and you have seen the electoral bonds, thousands of crores, and you cannot even get the data which organization is funding these. Can your party contest such type of scenario? Is it a free and fair election?
You can gauge the hollowness of that slogan, सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास. सबको अलग रख के खाली पैसे वाले जो है, अगर आप बैठे रहेंगे इलेक्शन में, तो फिर गरीबों का देखेगा कौन? गरीबों की जो तकालीफ का कौन, किसको एहसास होगा? देख रहे हैं आप, अगर आज कोई भी इलेक्शन के लिए, जैसा कि पांडे जी साहब बोले हैं, हमारी पार्टी के लिए भी एक मुश्किल हो रही है. और हमारे पास इंडिया में जो कमर्शियल इंस्टिंक्ट के तहत ही डोनेशन इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड से खरीदे जाते हैं, गिव एंड टेक के मामले के तहत. गरीब दे क्या सकता? गरीब वोट के लिए भी जो 500 रुपए लेता है, इसको ऐसे स्टेज पे पहुंचा दिए कि 500-700 रुपए दिए तो कि वोट जाके देता है, तो ये वोट खरीदे जाते हैं. तो हम गरीब को भी जो है इस हद तक जो है एहसास दिलाना चाहिए कि उसको वोट बेचे, तो जो खुद अपने आप को बेच रहा है, अपने मुल्क को बेच रहा है.
अपने आप को बेच रहा, अपने मुल्क को बेच रहा है. Yes sir, Sandeep Pandey ji, last passing comment before we wind up. Whether it is a free and fair election, whether all these measures will really be beneficial to people participatory constitutional democracy, can any ordinary man or ordinary small party can think of contesting in a level playing field? Now everything is, party funding is opaque, electoral bonds are opaque, and even NRI funding is very, very, very opaque. And don't you think this is what more corruption is? All you have made opaque, no one can get anything. Our Right to Information Act diluted. You cannot get information of political party NRI funding or electoral bonds. When such is the case, now don't you think this is the big corruption? And can any democracy survive this way?
No, Shiv Prasad ji, it is an unjust system and it has to be changed. If it is to be democratic, it is an undemocratic system right now. It is against the spirit of our constitution, because constitution is so written that every citizen has to be treated equal before the law. So if there is a law which is called People's Representation Act, as part of which elections are conducted in India, then every person has to be equal before the law. You cannot have a big party, who have a permanent symbol, who are able to spend more than the limit set by the election commission. In fact, we believe that election should be sponsored by the state, and we should have no publicity. Why do you need publicity? If you are there in a constituency and you are working for 5 years, then people should know you. There should just be a common debate among candidates, and people should judge you based on how you debate and the issues that you put forth. So we need a transformation of the system that we have, so that it becomes free and fair, and where everybody has a level playing field. They should feel equal to the other contender. But this has to be done by some government, because the law has to be changed. Right now there is such a loophole in the law that everybody knows that the election campaigning has to come to an end 48 hours before the polling concludes. Now, this phrase that we hear again and again applies only to electronic media. In Lucknow, full-page front advertisements were published by BJP in all newspapers one day before the polling and on the day of the polling. So they are making a mockery of the rule that campaigning has to end 48 hours before the conclusion of the poll. Polling is taking place in Lucknow. The Prime Minister or the Chief Minister is addressing a rally in the next phase of election, and that speech can be seen on live by people who are actually polling on that day. So such kind of mockery of the law should not be allowed to take place, and we have to make it free and fair in real sense, not just in words. Thank you.
Anyone wants to contribute before I say bye? Because yes, sir. Shall I wind up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How can we term this as free and fair election when the independents we call, when if they intend to contest, the ceiling amount which was raised in spite of Corona, Election Commission of India has need to answer this to the people. When during Corona, livelihoods lost, and how is that you are raising the ceiling limit for the political party candidates? That beats my intelligence. You are a constitutional authority. You are an independent body, but Election Commission of India, you have to understand, you are being funded by my taxes. You are answerable to me. I am a constitutional authority. Don't mind, you cannot run away. Nothing is going to be called as sub judice, or even that thing is also not there in our constitution. They are just scaring people. When I am a constitutional authority, when my money is being utilized for my own welfare and development, how is that I do not know? I do not have sufficient information. I should be informed, right from village secretariat, panchayat, then municipalities, corporations, assemblies, then it should go to the parliament. Not you are going to impose because some industrialists fund your party and you are going to have the agenda to suit that industrialist. During Corona, the Indians have become neo-rich businessmen, and even our polity was celebrating it. When people raised an uproar, they got subdued. This is how the socio-political economical divide is happening, and in that, if Election Commission of India doesn't conduct elections in a free and fair way, in the sense every individual citizen has a right to contest, and if he has to contest, there should be a level playing field. And how is that you are allowing such huge money to this major political parties can garner in the form of political funding by NRIs or electoral bonds, which you have made it very opaque? And how can the independents or normal individuals think of even contesting an election? leave out forming a political party. Is this not a very, very, very violation, clear violation of our constitutional, wherein free and fair elections under the basic structure of constitution, is it not in violation of the spirit of the basic structure of constitution? Is it not again 85 lakhs of liters of alcohol if it is cost? Is it not enticing the voters? If it is alcohol, the money, and again the ceiling limit which you have raised, and opaque NRI funding and electoral bonds, all these things, don't you think constitute the violation in letter and spirit of the basic constitution structure of Constitution of India, wherein free and fair election with no advantage or disadvantage to any contesting candidate irrespective of political affiliations? Don't you think we are going against that? At the same time, you should allow the elector to exercise his right to franchise in a very free and fair way, wherein there is no enticement at all. When Election Commission of India itself is stating 85 lakh liters of alcohol is caught, then how can you term this as a free and fair election? I leave it to the sense of every citizen of this country. After demonetization, we expected income tax reforms, because that is the crux of the issue where this black money lies. After income tax reforms, we expected electoral reforms. But nothing has happened after demonetization. After happily they caught hold of all political parties and those funding these political parties of their illegitimate, illegal means, the government stopped there and taking advantage of it, right from Lallu to Shashikala, and in between also we have been saying who else next going to go to jail from the political party. That is the advantage which BJP has got. That advantage BJP NDA has very well utilized in these elections too. None to blame except these corrupt politicians, corrupt political parties and their supporters also, so that citizens now, at least now, wake up call for all of you, because it is we who are the constitutional authority and political parties are just only to represent us in the constituent assemblies or parliament, so that the welfare and development should be done in a transparent and accountable way. Not these 1% funders, corporate funding, not to suit their basic needs. But this is how a change is happening. I only hope India will come back to its people participatory constitutional democracy methods once for all. Again, I congratulate all those winners and also all those who have participated in the election. At least now the governments, right from state to the central government, should take a call wherein this opaque funding we should end. All these electoral bonds, NRI funding should end. Everything should be brought under Right to Information Act. Why are you getting scared? Whether it is Modi or to Chota Modi, whoever it is, why are you getting scared? Why are you make these political party donations very opaque? Is it not corrupt? Because people are getting a doubt that you are allowing these corrupt industrialists or infrastructure companies to go scot-free so that they can donate and you take care of them. Otherwise, why there should not be a transparent funding? And when every citizen should have a right to know which political party and who is being supported, which industrialist, which company is funding that, why you should not know? Because it is my money through which the government has to run. Right from Prime Minister to Chief Minister, they are all public servants, including Election Commission of India, whether it is judiciary or everything, they are all constitutional bodies with defined duties. They are all answerable to the parliament, and the parliament, none but every citizen being a constitutional authority, he is being represented by these elected representatives from a political party or independents. So that should be the beauty of democracy. I only hope people will get sensitized and they should not forget they themselves are a constitutional authority, right from Prime Minister to Chief Minister, all are his public servants. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So take care. Let us only hope the spirit of democracy prevails, so that there will be Sukham and Shanti eternally for every citizen of this wonderful country. So take care, sir. For all the Indians, Sukhanidra, Shubharatri, for the world over, good morning, good afternoon and good evening. Bye, sir.
Bye.